Second Epcot International Festival of the Arts. We could not think of a better way to conclude today's preview than with a surprise. So here, joining us right now with an intimate glimpse of tonight's Disney on Broadway performance, I am so pleased to welcome the stars of tonight's show. They were originally they starred on Broadway in Disney's Tarzan as Tarzan and Jane, and I'm happy to welcome today Jenn, Gambatese, and Kevin Massey.
We are so excited to be here for the second year of the International Festival of the Arts here at Epcot.
We'd love to sing just one quick song from the Disney production of Newsies on Broadway. We'll be singing the song tonight as part of the Disney on Broadway concert series at Epcot, which we're opening tonight.
But first, let me introduce you to our music supervisor and dear friend, Mr. Jim Abbott. Jim, shall we?
Thanks.
Till the moment I found you, I thought I knew what love was. Now I'm learning what is true, that love will do what it does. The world finds ways to sting you, and then one day decides to bring you something to believe in for even a night. One night may be forever, but that's alright, that's alright. And if you're gone tomorrow, what was ours still will be. I have something to believe in, now that I know you believed in me.
We were never meant to meet, and then we meet, who knows why. One more stranger on the street, just someone sweet passing by. An angel come to save me, I didn't even know she gave me something to believe in for even a day. One day may be forever, but that's okay, that's okay. And if I'm gone tomorrow, what was ours still will be. I have something to believe in, now that I know you believed in me.
Do you know what I believe in?
Look into my eyes and see. And if I'm gone tomorrow,
What was ours still will be. I have something to believe in, now that I know you believed in me.
I have something to believe in.
Now that I know you
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for our musical supervisor, Jim Abbott.
Yes, and thank you for being here this morning. We hope that we're going to see you at the festival over in the park this weekend.
And I have to give one quick announcement. You may have heard that my wife, Cara Lindsay, couldn't be here this weekend for a family emergency, but Jenn is a star and stepped in at the last moment, so we got to give her some props. Please give her a hand. So please come back and see the rest of our friends and Disney on Broadway colleagues. We've got Kissy Simmons, Alton Fitzgerald White, Ashley Brown, and Josh Strickland coming in the next 6 weeks of the festival, so come back, please.
Yeah. And have a great day here, and we'll see you around. Thanks for supporting the arts.
We
just want to say thank you again to Kevin and Jen. They've actually graciously agreed to hang out for a second and talk. We wanted to just ask you, can you give us a little hint of that? That song was from Newsies, right? So can you give us a hint of some of the other songs? Obviously from Tarzan. What can they see tonight?
Our director, Jeff Lee, sort of put it perfectly. He said, we're just giving you nice little slices of the pie of some of these great Disney on Broadway shows. So we have a couple songs from Newsies, we've got a couple songs from Tarzan, we've got an exciting song from the next big Disney on Broadway show, Frozen.
Yeah.
A nice little Frozen medley. What am I missing?
A little dollop of Aladdin in there.
Oh, that's right, a dollop of Aladdin.
How was your working together in Tarzan? Any fond memories?
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember a thing.
It was 11 years ago, actually, and we were going through blocking last night, and he had this funny memory. Do you remember what you were telling me last night?
Yeah, there was a moment where she has to be brought up in a big spider web, and it was the first time in costumes, and there she has all this crinoline underneath, and there's things to step over on the stage, and it was a long day, and I remember it was a little bit overwhelming, and I just reached out and I grabbed her hand, and I said, "It's gonna be okay."
The skirt he's talking about was actually, it was a 26-pound hoop skirt, and the reason it was 26 pounds was because the spider web was stuffed inside these pockets, and then the plants danced around me, and they hooked up from under the skirt, and the spider web came out, and I went up, I don't know, 40 feet in the air and hit the big note. So it was an overwhelming day, and I do remember Kevin's little hand, like, is he okay?
So when you guys worked together, we heard there was a lot of like stunts, and I mean Tarzan was. Any fun memories of all of the things that you used to jump and fly through the air? And, it was a spectacular.
Bouncing, throwing.
Yeah. Well, I always joke that Tarzan was the first audition that I had to put on a crash helmet for. So that was one of the things in the audition process, was to make sure, how comfortable we were with the high-flying adventure part. So yeah, we had harnesses. It was really cool too. There was a whole team of rock climbers. So we had like our regular stage crew, and then we had this team of rock climbers that always made sure that the harnesses were hooked up right. You never heard of an accident on Disney on Broadway, and that's for a reason. Disney really takes care of their people.
They were amazing. The other great part of it was that this floor was sprung and carpeted and padded, and the walls were completely inflated, so you could just run into the wall and not get hurt at all. So it's kind of like a big playground.
It was like a big bounce house.
And now I have to put my theater geek hat off for a second and talk about the parks. Have you guys, are you looking forward to riding attractions, or what's your favorite thing to do here at Walt Disney World?
Oh my gosh, I got to do a lot of it last time I was here, so of course I'm looking forward to Avatar. Heard all about that. And I know that some of the other ones are in the works. I wish I was going back here in the summer when they're opening up, but oh my gosh, I love them so much. I'm going to go back to the Rock and Roll roller coaster. My family's going to come down, my little niece and nephew are going to get to see Goofy, which is Goofy, she says all the time, and the Star Wars, what's it, the Jedi training.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Do that.
Well, I'm going to be really honest, because this was such a sort of fast turnaround here for me to get down here, and I had to learn a lot of stuff in like 48 hours. I haven't thought much about the parks, but I did get to bring my husband and my 2 kids with me, and I have an 8.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so they're out gallivanting right now, doing fun things and meeting princesses, and but I'm excited. There's Jedi training. Okay, I have to put that on the list.
Sure. So I think we have time for a couple of quick questions from the audience. Anybody have anything on your mind?
Don't be shy.
Yeah. Jill?
I know that you said something about think Camps for supporting the arts. Are you all involved in that in your local, where you live?
That's a great question. Well, as I mentioned, I have 2 kids, and I live in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, which is up in Westchester, and we have just a great school system, so we're very fortunate that the arts are a part of their education, and I was actually just asked to come in and do like a little workshop with the 4th graders. I'm also a brownie leader. So what have we done this year? We did outdoor art badge, and I think our next one is making games. So it's great to get kids to be sort of engaged with all the different kinds of arts education that there are.
Yeah, I love teaching. I didn't think I would do this for a living, and one of the things, I thought I was going to be a doctor, and I thought I would be a teaching doctor. So doing this and then being able to teach this has been a real joy for me. And I'm from North Carolina originally, and they're starting to develop more programs down there in the mountains of western Tennessee, and so we're getting calls for that and trying to really bring the arts back home as well, because we're lucky. I mean, New York is the ground zero for the musical theater, and so we're really lucky to have experience there and have training there to be able to bring that out even throughout the world. So yeah.
Yeah, and I want to actually expand on that. I think that's so interesting because I look at what we do as healing in a way. You know, I think especially music is healing. So I forgot that you wanted to be a doctor. Like, you are still sort of like a doctor healing through music.
Any others? Any other quick ones? Can you go?
Oh, he's projecting. You're great.
What is your favorite production that you've done?
Well, so the only Disney show that I got to do was Tarzan, which was really great. My very favorite, that's so hard. It's like asking what's your favorite kid, and I've done some really cool ones.
You know you have a favorite kid. Come on.
Depends on the day. But I was so lucky. I got to originate Hairspray on Broadway. I did a great show, which was my first leading role, which is called All Shook Up, which is the music of Elvis Presley. That was a lot of fun. What about you?
Of course, Disney's my favorite Disney show. I actually got to, you'll hear about it if you come to the show, I got to do it over in Germany as well. And what's cool about the Germany production is there's even different things and different flying, and so I got to like experience it in German also, but also different flying. But I just came through Orlando this past year with Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Such a good show.
Which was really fun. I don't know if any of you got to see it. I absolutely adored that show, and it was so fun and so different. So that was one of my favorites too.
Any last quick question? Okay.
If you guys could choose one show, past or present, to do, what would you do? It doesn't have to be Disney.
Such a good question. I like to answer that question by saying the thing I most enjoy doing is originating. So I think that show doesn't exist yet. Originating Jane and Tarzan was such a thrill. So that's kind of my big thing is the show doesn't exist, but of the past Disney shows, I was always bummed I didn't get to do Belle. That was one I would have liked to have done. And then I love Stephen Sondheim, so he's on my list.
I always say the same answer too. I don't know what the show will be. Belle! I'm dreaming about Belle forever. It'll happen.
That's a twist. I could be the Beast.
I don't think I'll play the Beast.
It does sing real high.
Which is a really scary
I know.
But one show that I would always love to do would be Tony in West Side Story. Just gorgeous.
Could you imagine hearing him sing
music?
that?
Oh, you're very sweet. But yeah, and such a great story. And stop! He knows 2 songs.
Yeah, this guy, you guys, Jim Abbott, I'm just going to sing his praises again. He has been part of the Disney family for years.
Since 1999.
1999. And which show was that, Aida? That was Aida. So he is just this encyclopedia, not only of Disney on Broadway music, but of all music. And when you have a short amount of time to learn things, he's a really, really good helper.
And I was a musical director for Tarzan, so we've all been together for like a long time.
Well, we just want to say thank you again to Kevin and Jen and Jim for helping us out today. So thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.